Good morning. It's April 12th, 2019. We're the Missouri Veterans History Project, working out of the Isle of Capri Casino Training Center in Boonville, Missouri. Interviewing Mr. Dewey Holst, who was a B-24 tail gunner in World War II. Recording the interview will be Gary Blackmore. At the camera will be Encida Elvido. I will be the interviewer, Paul Mazin. We have our supervisor, Kirk Klingler. And as a guest, we have Mr. Holst's wife, Vanita Holst, who will be observing. Daughter, I'm sorry. His daughter, Vanita Holst, who will be...
Schmidt.
Vanita Holst Schmidt. Okay. Thank you very much. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
We understand that you can't hear everything we say, so we're just going to let you start with your story, where you were born and grew up, and then just go on from there.
Okay. Well, I was drafted July the 10th, 1943. And I went to Fort Lewis,
You
went
basic
Fort
training?
Leavenworth, Kansas, for introduction.
Oh, okay.
And I was sworn in, and they gave me 31 days, or 21 days to go back home, and I had to be back by July the 31st of 1943. And when I got back to Leavenworth, Kansas, I took a test to see if I qualified for the Air Force, and I was. So I stayed there about 3 or 4 days before I get to train back to go to Amarillo, Texas for my basic training. And I was there for about 5 or 6 months waiting for cadet training, and finally the CO come around and told us, about 80 of us, that they had too many cadet trainees going through, so if we still wanted to fly, we could go to gunnery school and be a gunner on the airplanes. So about all of us volunteered, and we were sent to Arlington, Texas, for our Air Force training there, and we got trained for being a gunner, and then after we got through down there, I made one stripe, pilot. Yes, sir.
What kind of training did you have there?
Well, we had target shooting, and we had airplane flying with a big long tubing, and we'd shoot at that tubing and with colored bullets, and then they would see how we were on our target.
So if your colors on the target.
On the moving target.
Okay.
We did all right on the shotgun on the ground and everything, but it was pretty difficult. And I guess I passed because I stayed in the Air Force. And after I went to Arlington, they sent me to Omaha, Nebraska for troop assignment. And there I was assigned to go to Boise, Idaho with the crew. And but I didn't go to Idaho. I had a brother that went through navigation school, and he happened to be there at the same time to have crew assignment. And he being an officer, he had me pulled off of that list and put on his that was going to Casper, Wyoming. So I ended up a tail gunner on a B-24. My brother was a navigator on the same airplane. and we traded together on that while we was there at Casper. And then we flew overseas in a brand new airplane that we picked up at Topeka, Kansas. And it took us about 3 days of traveling from base to base. And we went to Bangor first, and then to Iceland. And then we took off from Iceland and flew down to England. And I think it's about July of '44 when we landed in England. And we went through some more training there. And we finally got through with all of our training and everything. They signed us to combat missions. And our first combat mission was on August the 16th, 1944. And I forgot what the name of the town that we went to, but on August the 26th, 1944, I can remember that one very well because we went to Ludwigshafen, Germany, and it's down there on the southern part of Germany, and they shot at the flak at us, and we couldn't hardly get through it. We could take a hit on the number 3 and 4 engine, and it got busted a gasoline tank on that side and set it afire. And the pilot and co-pilot put the plane in a dive, and thank God, I think God blew his breath on that wing and cooled that metal because the wing stayed on. Usually with that hot of fire, the wing will break off and spar down. No one gets out of the airplane. But I still thank God every day almost for him and everything. The pilot and co-pilot finally pulled the plane out at about 10,000 feet, and we leveled off, flew back up into France, and we got to around with about 40 miles of Paris. Well, then we ran out of gas, and those other 2 engines were beginning to sputter and everything. The pilot said, "Bail out, boys." And so we bailed out, and I landed at Le Mans, France, which was about 40 miles from Paris, and there's 4 of us there, and we stayed there about 6 days before we could catch a ride back into England. And finally, a C-47 come in and could pick us up and take us over to London. And we got back into London, and from there, well, they gave us some money to buy our tickets on the train to get back to England where our base was. And we got back there, well, they gave us 2 weeks R&R. And while on R&R, well, I should say, when I bailed out, I wounded my hand. I slid along the side. I wasn't supposed to, but I did. Tried to hold on to the airplane to stay with it, I guess. But anyway, they doctored my hand and everything, took care of it. And at R&R, the Red Cross nurses and everybody, they were really nice, and they took care of me. And while I was there, one of the boys there wanted to go to London. He didn't have any money, but he had a brand new watch. Wanted to sell it. Anybody wanted to buy it. No one wanted to buy it, so finally he got around to me. Well, I asked him how much he wanted for it, and he said £4. Well, that £4 was actually about $16 in American money. So I gave him the £4, and I still have that watch today. It still works. It was a 7 jewel Bulova watch, and I wore it every once in a while, wind it up. I had it cleaned a couple of times, but it proved the rest of my missions with me from number 3 through 35, and it still worked and everything. Usually they said for us not to wear it once because the high altitude might ruin it, but it didn't. And I say, from our third mission on, they were all scary. We did have fighter attacks and everything. We were lucked out on some of them, and everything got back to our base from the flats that the Germans would shoot up at us. And it was pretty thick at times. I should have brought my big book that I got this story from the 448th Bomb Group, and it shows the flak area that we had to fly through that day, and you could almost get out and walk on it. And but it's an awful thing. Up there, you don't have any place other than barreling out. So, but anyway, we did get it while we flew back in there up close there. And General Patton and his track division and ground troop, they were moving through that day, and that's where we landed when we bailed out. The German troop had moved out on August 25th, 1944,
And you got there the 26th.
and we bailed out on August 26th, 1944. So, was I ever glad to see American soldiers? That's for me. And they come pick me up while they took me to the hotel where the Germans had their headquarters, because it was all cleaned out and everything. And four of us, we stayed over there about 6 days before we could catch a ride back over to London. We rode back over there in a C-47 airplane.
And then
Sir?
Then you went 2 weeks R&R? Then you had 2 weeks R&R?
No, we got back up to London. Well, we got some money to buy tickets to go back to see them. Got to see them around on R&R. The Red Cross girls there at R&R, they took care of my head and it healed up. And then got through with my R&R, went back to England, up to see the England, went on flying status again, and kept flying missions every so often. And I often wondered why it took us so long. It took us 11 months to get our 35 missions in, when other boys are getting them through in about 5 or 6. They'd fly about every day, and I guess our pilot and co-pilot would kind of be held out on a lead pilot or something like that. So they didn't fly too often. And after I got through with 35 missions, come back, that was finished up on April 7th, 1945. After I got there back and played, sat down on the hard stand, I got out and kissed the earth, and I said, "Dear God, thank you. I'll never fly again." But they come up with this honor flight, and I got a chance to fly on the 35th honor flight, and I asked God to forgive me, and I guess He did, because I'm still here today. I thank God. But I enjoyed my honor flight. It was it was a great experience for me, and I had never flown in a jet or anything like that, but it was so much better than that B-24 because it was faster, and I mean, it just zoom right along.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry.
Your missions must have been very stressful.
Sorry.
Your missions.
Well, I'll have to do a little reading here, so just a minute. Well, they were all very stressful and everything, but I don't know, I was so young and everything, I felt more or less that I was not going to be shot at or anything like that, and I thought maybe I might be able to get back to my sweetheart that I left when I went overseas and everything, and I wrote several letters to her and told her that as soon as I got home, we would probably get married and be together forever. And after I finished up my mission, we stayed there about a month, and my brother and I were going to sail back over to USA on separate ships. But he wrote a letter to General Eisenhower to get permission for us both to ride the same ship. So General Eisenhower okayed and everything, and we sailed back together. And we landed in New York City, got to see the Statue of Liberty, and it was a great sight and everything. And we got on the train, and coming through Ohio, they'd had a lot of rain, and it had softened the track, and the car that we were riding in, it toppled over, from top over to sit down the bank.
Oh my.
And thank God we saved again. I mean, we didn't get a scratch out of it or anything like that. And we finally got straightened up there, and we got back to Jefferson Barracks. I forgot just what day it was, but anyway, we landed probably about May the 20th, 1945. I'm not real sure. But anyway, they gave us a 30-day furlough, and both of us, we went home, and it was quite an experience to be with my brother. And with him, he was in the front of the plane, and I was in the back end. You could see where we were going, I could see where we'd been. Yeah, but anyway, that kind of separated us. He went one way, and I had my orders to go to Santa Ana, California, and be there on, I think it's about 23rd or 24th of June. And from there, I moved around. I rode the train for about a month. They sent me from station to station. I mean, I finally ended up at Portland, Oregon, Army Air Base, and the boys on that base well, they didn't have anything for us to do, but they finally got sent us up into Washington for as firefighters. And we was up, I got on there, but anyway, before I got there, done that, I wrote to my sweetheart and told her, I said, I'm not going to get a furlough. Said, come on out, we'll be married. So she did. She spent about 5 days, I think it was, coming from the state of Missouri to Portland, Oregon. They wouldn't be able to get on the bus or anything like that for a ride because the priority to service people. Mm-hmm. And finally she got out there. But anyway, I had rented an apartment for her to go to when she got there. And but when she got there, I was up in the state of Washington fighting the fires. And finally, I got back to Portland and everything, and got back to see her, and I got acquainted with another boy that he was already married and had a vehicle, and he took us to into Portland there to get married. But anyway, the judge asked us our age, and we told him we was 20. You're too young. Said, got to be 21. I said, till I get to be 21, I'm not changing my mind, you know. But anyway, we went up into the state of Washington and went to Castle, Washington, and went up and talked to a judge, and he didn't ask us our age or anything. He got out the papers and started writing, and he married us, and that was on September the 4th, 1945. And we asked him, I said, what would be a good place to go eat? Began to get hungry. So he said, there's a nice cafe downstairs, he said. Go down there and you'd get a lunch. But anyway, I asked him how much I owed him, and he said $10. I handed him $10, but when he was telling us about a place to eat, he said, here, take this $10 and have lunch on me. Oh. So it didn't cost me a nickel to get married. But anyway, we went down there, and we had a pork steak, and all the trimmings and everything, there were drinks, and there was 4 of us. And I got a lady, our waitress, I said, how much do I owe you? And she told me, so I handed her the $10, and she brought me back some change. And from there, from Kelso, Washington, they put her there and everything, but we went back to Portland, and my buddy and his wife and us, while we went over to the Portland Rose Garden, went through it. It's a beautiful rose garden and everything, and so we finally, they wanted some boys to sign up for KP. That's kitchen duty. I thought that'd be a good idea for me because they had it fixed so they worked every other day. And that sounded real good for me. So just being getting married and everything, and I could be with my sweetheart. And anyway, that was a good deal. My wife and I would take a walk and everything, and the place where we stayed was pretty close to what is that river runs through the Columbus River? I'm not real sure. Columbia. But anyway, pretty close to it, and my wife had worked at Sears Roebuck, and Sears Roebuck was just on the other side of the bridge. And my wife went over there and was going to go to work. But anyway, on September the 26th or 7th, I had enough points that I could get out of the service. And I had 83 points, so I had to have 80. And so I told her I wanted to be discharged, go home. And I did. And that was September the 27th, I believe, of 1945. They paid her way to ride back to Kansas City, and but me, I had to pay my way so I'd be with her. But anyway, we got back to Kansas City about a couple of days. Back then, it didn't go very far on the train. It didn't stop, and you have to sit and wait to move down again. But anyway, I got back to got back home. Well, we stayed around home there, and I helped her parents out some in the fall and everything. And then I told her, well, that the government, I think, was paying $20 a month or something like that. And I told the wife, I said, this don't go get us anywhere. We're going to have to go back to Kansas City, get a job, and get some money so we could have a place to go. But anyway, I think we had about $600 between us. And my brother, he was kind of into the car business, and he had a 38 Chevrolet that was pretty good shape. He wanted $600 for it, so we bought the car so we'd have travel. You did. Got back to Kansas City, got both of us at Sears Roebuck, and after that same year, while General Motors bought the model plant over in Kansas City, and they was going to build big cars. So I quit Sears, went over there and got me a job, and I worked 40 years and 4 months on my job, and it was an easy. Some of the job was hard when I first got there, but after a little bit, I got an easy job by seniority and everything, and I just stayed with them until I was satisfied and had a little money too saved up, and we bought a place, paid for it, and after my wife and I, we weren't a family, but anyway, the family didn't arrive until about 11 years after we were married. We had, and the doctor advised us not to have any more children, so we didn't. But there's the outcome of the first, my little baby doll. Yeah, she was a wonderful little girl. And her mother always kept her looking real nice and dressed. She did a lot of sewing on herself, making clothes that matched. Mm-hmm. She had a lot of clothes that were made by her. And but anyway, after I stayed there, but in 1956, the place where we lived was just a three-room place, and when we bought it, it didn't have a inside toilet facilities. But anyway, it wasn't long till excuse me, it wasn't long till we had that all taken care of. And with our extra girl coming and everything, well, we decided we better, excuse me, look for a place for where we could have a little better, more room. Well, it happened to be that the city owned some lots from about 6 or 8 blocks from where we lived, and I bought 2 of those for $50 a piece.
Wow.
Yeah, and we ended up building a 70-foot house across those two lots. We had 15-foot clearance on each side, and I had a 72-foot overhang, and the overhang was 2 foot wide all the way around the house, and it's 712 pitch, I believe, and it could be walked on any place on it and everything, and a lot of times when the summer or fall, I'd get up on there and wash the gutters out.
Start some water?
No, I'd be all right, thank you.
Okay.
But anyway, we built that new home, and it took from about August of 46 to I don't know just exactly what day it was we moved in, but anyway, we moved in there, and she was beginning to get about a year old, and she had some roller skates, and the living room was 33 feet away from her, where the hallway was, going back into the bedrooms and the bathrooms and the utility room and the kitchen. But it was about 33 foot from one end dining room to the hallway. And she'd go roller skating because of the hardwood floor. Oh man, she can't go down. But after.
Just a couple of questions I had that we missed at the beginning. When and where were you born?
Where did I grow up? I grew up, well, I started school at Gravois Mills, Missouri. And in 1931, my dad farmed out in the bottom land where the lake would be covering it up. And in 1931, he decided that he was going to have to move. So from Morgan County, he moved to Howard County. And I was in the first grade, and I finished in first grade at Petersburg, Missouri. And from Petersburg, we lived there about 1 year because he couldn't find enough work to take care of his family. And from Petersburg, we moved to Lisbon, Missouri. And there, the guy owned the farm, and the guy that owned the farm lived in Columbia, and my dad farmed the river bottom land. And 2 or 3 years that he farmed there, where the river got over it and everything, and he decided that wasn't any good, so he moved up into the hill country and everything, and we lived up there a while, and he just worked out here and there. But I might say my mom and dad, they had 14 children.
Wow.
They had 9 boys and 5 girls. My oldest sister ended up in 1922 with the epidemic pneumonia, and she didn't make it through and she died. Well, I didn't know anything about her because I was born in 1925. And but there were 9 of us, and the ninth boy, his name was Noah, but being 9 boy, we nicknamed him 9, so we called him 9 already.
Well, 9.
But and I am the only one left of the 14, and I just lost 3 of them lost 2 of them in 18 and then 1 in 19 January. But I don't know why God has kept me here this long, but anyway, I'm hoping that everything. I said I'd like to be retired as long as I worked on my job. I worked 20 years and 4 months, and I've got 32 or 33 years in, and my jacket there, it has 35 bombs on there, and each bomb counts for each mission. I had a 24 painted on the back, but wearing it, rubbing it, wore the paint off, and it just sees kind of the design and everything, but that's about all. And I brought my OD's dress khaki that I had, and I think he's going to do it now and bring it over. But I'm too big for it. Yeah.
Did your airplane have a name?
Sir?
Did your airplane have a name? Did they name the airplane?
We flew different airplanes. We didn't always have the same one. Yep. You see the tie? Yeah. That's no deal here. This is a caterpillar, and that shows that I bailed out of an airplane, and it was saved by parachute. Here.
Mm-hmm. It was called the Caterpillar Club, wasn't it? For people who actually
It don't fit me anymore, but it hangs around, and I try to keep it in good shape, you know.
Yeah.
I'm proud of it.
You should be.
Yes.
You earned it.
Yeah, well, I don't know, a lot of people don't care too much about the soldiers or anything, but we had a job to do and we did it.
That's right.
No matter who we are, whether we're on the ground, in the air, or on the water, we all had a job to do and we did it. And
Did you have some other things?
well, I I received this from the state of Missouri in 2014. That's when Bill Holden was governor, Matt Blunt was the Secretary of State. This I received from the French government in, I'd say, maybe 16. And they'll only give it to people who did a good deed for them in World War II. Well, I and several other Air Force fellows, we flew missions and dropped a lot of bombs on the Germans while I was in France, to push them back over into Germany where they belong. And it's also designed on the back side. It was designed by Napoleon.
Get a good picture of that. Can we get a picture of the other side too?
This is from the 8th Air Force, being a member of the 8th Air Force. This I received last year in September, and it's a 50-year pin from the Masonic Lodge.
Wow.
When I joined, I didn't think I'd make it because I didn't join at a very early age. But I finally did and everything, and they came to my town, Fayette, at my Christian church where I attend, and presented that to me.
Yeah.
I thank the French people for recognizing me and presenting me with that medal there. Did I mention that it was designed by Napoleon?
Yes, you mentioned that.
Yeah.
You had an angel on your shoulder.
Sir?
You had an angel on your shoulder.
Yeah.
Both in combat and in that train wreck.
Right.
You've been a very fortunate man.
This jacket here is just like the one that he showed there. And I bought it in Louisville, Kentucky, when we were there at a reunion, 1 year.
So you go to reunions?
Oh, yes. We're going to St. Louis this year. Yeah, we went to Louisiana last year, down New Orleans.
Is that for the 448th Bomb Group?
Sir?
Is that 448th Bomb Group, or is it?
Oh, it's a whole Air Force.
8th Air Force?
Oh, yeah. I think I'm about the only one that shows up from the 448th.
Well,
Yeah,
that's understandable.
yeah.
Is there any other stories you wanted to tell,
Sir?
or did we miss anything? Did we miss anything?
Ancient.
No, have you told everything you want to say?
No. I don't know. I got a certificate of valor from the 448. Well, I don't guess there's too many other stories that I can tell. I might mention my church association.
Okay.
I've I've been a song leader, I've been an officer in the church, and I've been a Sunday school class president several times, and I've been a deacon, I've been an elder, I've been a president of the church board. And now they have retired me, and I was presented with a medal. I don't know. I don't think I have it. No. They also presented my wife with the same medal and everything. But
When you got out of the service and went to work for Sears in Kansas City,
yeah,
how much did you make?
I think it was around. I know both of us together made less than $1. But anyway, I'd say maybe about probably around 47, 48 cents, maybe $1.
And that was in 1946?
Yes.
Okay. And you left to go to work at the auto plant?
Sir?
You left there to go to work at the auto plant?
Yeah.
For more money, I hope.
Well, I went to work over there about $1.07.
Okay. People don't understand what happened to pay scales.
Yes.
It's a long way from $15 an hour they're talking about today.
Yeah. Yes, sir. And when I retired, I think I was making probably close to 15 or 16 cents, $60 an hour.
Mm-hmm. And what kind of cars were you building?
Sir?
What kind of cars were you building?
Cars?
Yes.
When I went over there was Buicks, Oldsmobiles, and Pontiacs, a BOP plant.
Okay. And what was your job there?
Sir?
What was your job there?
Well, I was worked in material handling at Sears, so they put me in material, and I saw I could get a little more money by working someplace else, so I made an application for it, and they gave me it, and I worked in the paint department, and they paid better wages than in the material, so I don't exactly know what it, but it probably another 15, 20 cents on the hour. Yeah. And they always had up, you know, a little bit lower. And
how much school did you have?
Fine.
How much schooling did you have? Did you go to high school?
How much schooling? Yes. And I took one course in college, but I went to the service instead, and I didn't go back after I got out. I went back to work so I could make a living and be home with my sweetheart.
We all, a lot of this did that.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for your service and help us save the world.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, I read.
Thank you, dude.
That's right.